Call to order the town council meeting for Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mike Aurelio is absent. Brian Blazak.
Present.
Wayne Pondinas.
Present.
Gerald Swets.
Present.
Mike Schilling.
Here.
Joe Wizawati.
Present.
David Westland.
Present.
And Beth Hernandez, present.
Item 3, public comment.
Say present.
Present. First one on the list, Tom Hocker.
Good evening. I'm just announcing today as part of the St. John Photo Project, we're having 2 weekends in June with a public exhibition of prints, the first and second weekends. And we'll have a schedule where I'm there. It's a donation on the part of the VFW to contribute the use of their space without charge to the grant, and we'll do a Friday afternoon, a Saturday afternoon, a Sunday afternoon, each of those 2 weekends. And so I wanted to get the town media to publish that information so we maybe get some people attending and support. What I'll be doing is displaying about 30 framed images and also a PowerPoint projected on the wall of hundreds of pictures that people can see and register their interest in one image over another. Looking forward to the end of the fiscal year in June for the budget. We will be producing 100 archival prints for deposit in the town. We'll do a flash drive, a hard drive with several thousand images. I've probably shot 12,000 images so far over the last year and a half. So we'll make a selection of those and put them on deposit, as well as ongoing display of different shoots on the town and the clerk's treasurer's social media. So that's where we stand on the project, just to bring you up to date and watch for the publicity, and if you want to help put it out there for public interest who may attend and see what we're doing to show how St. John becomes a community through various activities.
Thank you, Tom. Next on the list, Tom Adamek.
Hi. Tom Adamek, 9401 Chestnut Cove. Got a couple questions. I see on the agenda tonight that you're going to motion to pay the safety village $34,900. About 4 years ago, Dyer, Cherville, and St. John was all equal split. I don't remember what it was, 17, 20,000, something like that. The last couple years, Dyer pays less, we pay more. And then the last meeting that I watched online, you guys were waiting to approval of some audit. But now did you get that audit? And can you tell me why St. John pays more than the other two? If it's
I don't believe the audit's done yet. As for St. John paying more, the 3 towns split it up. St. John and Cherville pay the same. Dyer does pay a little bit less. I don't know why that is. The reason it's on the agenda tonight is it was deferred. It has to come back on the agenda tonight. So.
But what I'm saying is, if it's a tri-town safety village, shouldn't it be an equal split instead of St. John paying more than what Dyer does? And At 3 or 4 years ago, I can't remember exactly, but it used to be an equal split. And now we pay more. And I'm talking, if that Dyer pays 17,000, we're paying 34. We're paying double. The other thing is, I was watching the study session last week, and the Crown Point Christian wants a CRO officer. I'm not against safety, but I am against us paying 25% of the salary. With that there, is that going to pay for the officers' uniforms, pension, clothing, the cost of a police car? And Mr. Terpstra said in that study session that their attorney would get with the town attorney. Well, he also said that Mr. David Westland was the town attorney for Crown Point Christian. And he's an attorney, that's what he said in the meeting. And then you're to represent the town of St. John. That's a huge conflict of interest.
I believe he, not to correct you, but I believe he said he was the attorney, the one gentleman.
And Mr. Terpstra said he was an attorney.
Yeah.
But he said David Westland represented it in the meeting, that he represented Crown Point Christian in the study session.
I don't, and I never have represented Crown Point Christian. So if he said that, he misspoke. And you're right, it would have been a conflict, but I've never done any work for Crown Point Christian.
Okay, I'll watch the tape again, but he said it right here with the president or the principal or whatever in
It
this.
was John Terpstra. John is a lawyer.
Okay.
So, I don't know, I wasn't there, so I don't know what I wasn't there, so I don't know what he said or how he said it, but I can assure you, I have never in 28 years of practice done any work for Crown Point Christian.
Okay, well, I could have swore Mr. Terpstra said that you represented them. So, I mean, we'll watch the tape and see.
And in your remarks for the safety village, Dyer had their meeting a few days ago, and they tabled that for the safety village. They didn't vote on it.
Okay, thank you.
And if the school resource officer does, come up, the 25% that the town pays would be the 25% of the time that he's working for the town. Crown Point Christian School would pick up the entire time that he's working there. School only goes 9 months, then the other 3 months the officer's back on the road. They have two other agreements with the other school, or Lake Central School, where the officers go there for 75% of the time, and the school pays the time that they're at the school, and then we pay for the time that he's patrolling around in St. John.
Okay, but if we do put an officer there, or any of the schools, Ileana Christian or any of the schools that come and ask for it, every police officer there is going to have a police car. Then we're going to have to buy more police cars. And if you put a safety officer there, then you're going to have to hire another officer to take the place of him. So it's going to cost the town more money. I'm not against them having a security, a safety, a police or whatever, but not at the town's expense and not at the liability of the town. That's all I'm saying. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Next, Rob Kometz.
So 22 days ago, the residents spoke. Matter of fact, they spoke very loud and clear, and I hope you were listening. We've witnessed an election in the past like no other in St. John. The level of dirt and smear was off the charts. Rather than focus on what you could do for the town, you chose to engage in a desperate smear campaign and went to extremes to try to discredit your opponent. Did you hear the residents say they were tired of your antics and bully tactics? The two of you who participated in the musical chair games to appoint Mike are now both out of office next year. The landslide victory was your message to clean up your house and act like men. I would hope you heard the message, and the three of you will step down immediately from your position. Mike, Jerry, Brian, your legacies will live on in St. John, but not for good reasons. Had you only disclosed who managed that Facebook page, you would have saved the town residents thousands of dollars. But you chose not to divulge that information. costing the town $10,000 in one suit, not including what the town legal fees were. By withholding that, you cost the tax dollars, the residents of St. John, a lot of money. Brian, residents said no to your foul mouth, throwing F-bombs around like they're nickels. Jerry, the resident, said no to your failed hiring tactics. You, as president of the town council, hired a town manager who never passed high school, who posted racist comments on Facebook, and you publicly defended as being taken out of context. You also helped orchestrate the musical chair move to get Mike appointed to his seat, to keep a qualified woman off the council. A woman who devoted her career to public safety, and a woman who scared you because of her knowledge and service. Mike, the resident, said no to your smug attitude and disregard for anybody who disagreed with you and your Illinois style of politics. There's a reason you can't be elected to a council position. Look into a mirror and do some soul searching, and you will discover the reasons. You hide behind Christianity, yet when you think nobody's looking, you resort to smears and mean posts and
All right.
harassing behavior.
Thanks.
Joe, did you graduate from high school, Marian Catholic High School? Did you think by posting a post calling an Arab American Mr. Habib because you were mad because he sold you bad gas, is that taken out of context? That's racism. Most of my African American friends don't like the term darky. That is a racist comment. This council needs to do something and clean house. The three of you that lost should step, or the two of you that lost and Jerry need to step down immediately.
Next on the list, Bill Purcell.
Bill Purcell sent me this at like 20 minutes to 7, so he asked if I would read it. And if you don't mind, Mr. President, I'll go ahead and read it. He said, please read this to the town council at tonight's meeting. It's coming from Bill Purcell, 8649 Fairway Drive, St. John, Indiana. Regarding tonight's agenda, item 6A5, motion to approve the settlement of the Slavin versus Town of St. John and to authorize the town council president to execute any necessary settlement agreement. Further, to authorize the clerk treasurer to remit payment of $162.10 to Mr. Slavin for this filing fee, and to pay his attorney, Greg Bowes, legal services in the amount of $6,726.63. Please pay this bill. The cost was incurred due to untruths told and maintained by Councilman Mike Aurelio surrounding the use of the town's Facebook and/or social media use in secrecy. Councilman Aurelio caused a suit to be filed for full disclosure by Mr. Slavin. Okay, we lost it there.
We'll move
That's
along.
all right.
Nope.
You know what? It needs-
All right, but what he's trying to say is that he's trying to say Mr. Aurelio caused a suit to be filed for disclosure for Mr. Slavin and should be held personally responsible to reimburse not only the money for the town must pay Mr. Slavin and his attorney, but also the town's lawyer costs, also in the thousands. And sorry I lost my place with that, but those are his comments, and thank you.
All right.
He signed at the bottom.
Oh, he's saying it. Oh, sorry about that. Didn't see it at the bottom. Terry Nellerman.
I want to thank you very much for hearing me out, and I also want to personally congratulate all the people that won the election. I have nothing against the people that lost. I tried my best to stay neutral with politics that came from a very strong Democratic stronghold. So, with that said, I am addressing, it says to address the town council president. Mike, you are the town council president now?
Okay.
All right. I'm here today to, I was in court with Mary Philbin, I believe it is. And I had thanked the court for their time and their time with me with everything I had to say. And I thanked the individuals, I thanked the town's attorney, but I forgot to thank Mary Philbin for being there. She was definitely uncomfortable, not a place for her to be, but I guess she had to be because of the complaint that was filed. I was there, but please, could somebody just tell her, I'm sorry, she did a good job, and there's no ill will with her whatsoever. She's only doing her job. Number two, also here to, with what has been said already, I am here to thank Mr. Aurelio. You took the time to step in my home when you were canvassing for votes with Mr. Sweats. You do remember? You had your son and everything?
I remember.
And you asked me real nice if you could take a look at the structural issues that I had with the home, which you did. I know you couldn't stay, you couldn't see everything. I showed you a few things. I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time. I want to acknowledge that because I was told by this council that the council could not go into my home and the building commissioner cannot go into my home. You took the time to come and look to see what Lennar was building, okay? Again, that was Lennar's. Let's leave it at that. Again, Mr. Aurelio, thank you. Number three, this is the hard part, but it's got to be said. I'm here today, Mr. Schilling, I'll address you, Mr. Schilling, to ask that Jerry Sweats resign his position unconditionally, effectively as of tomorrow. This man has, when he came to my home before Mr. Aurelio, he wanted to, excuse me, after Mr. Aurelio, he came to me with some kind of mysterious document. Am I right, Jerry? You had a document in your hand you wanted to pass to me when I had COVID and I told you to stay back. Do you remember that?
I remember being at your house, yes.
Do you remember the document you wanted to give me?
I remember asking to give up you a document. I don't recall exactly what it was, but
Okay.
yes. Yes,
Well,
was
I
at
guess
your
it had
house.
to do something with John Gill with the building department, if I'm not mistaken. You said that he was on some kind of committee, but immaterial. Mr. Sweats,
Oh, the contractors board,
contractors board, there you go.
yes.
Okay. The situation is with, again, with Lennar's poster child of dangerous homes, dangerously built homes. You decided to do nothing. Nothing, Jerry. I told you, I came here, I told you that I own the poster child. Me and my wife own the poster child of this dangerously built homes. You did not make any effort to come to my home except for that document, which I didn't accept from you because I had COVID, if you remember.
Yeah, I
Remember,
remember.
I told you to
wouldn't
stand
let me,
back?
yeah, I remember because you wouldn't let me explain what it was or anything.
And I wouldn't let you in. Right.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. Do you remember me getting on my knees to you on the inside of that house? Do you remember what I said to you, Jerry, when I was on my knees to you? Do you remember?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Schilling. Mr. Schilling, let me finish. Let me finish. He happened to be there. Mr. Aurelio happened to be there, different day. The situation is I'm asking you to make sure that Mr. Gerald Sweats resigns his position, and can we definitely have it into the minutes? And can I have a certified letter? May I have a certified letter of his resignation or his refusal to resign?
I don't know if he's gonna I'm not asking him to resign.
No, I'm not asking you to ask him to resign. He's man enough. He's man enough. He knows what's going on. And these homes will continue to be built. The Hammond Times, the council here has had documentation. The Hammond Times has had consultation. The documentation. Lennar's the $28.2 billion corporation. I understand why why the town attorney would not want to go after him. I understand that. Not a problem, but the thing is it needed to be nipped in the bud here. Mr. Schilling, I'm sorry, I overstepped my bounds, my 3 minutes. I apologize to everybody. Again, congratulations to everybody. And as far as the losers are concerned, I guess the voters spoke. Never forget the power of of the voter. Thank you.
All right, item 4, approval of the minutes. You have the town council regular meeting for April 26, 2023, and town council's special study session for May 16th, 2023. If you don't see any issues there, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Old business, item A, consider use variance at 9495 Kalman Street for a medical office for St. John MC 24-172 and 24-342, section 24-45, schedule of use within a commercial highway and US 41 overlay district.
Mr. President, if I may.
Go ahead.
This was before the town council last month, and the matter was deferred at that meeting, if you recall. We were waiting on the approval of the minutes, which you now have in your packets. This was received a favorable recommendation from the BZA.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to allow the use variance at approve the use variance at 9495 Common Street.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next is a motion to authorize payment to the Tri-Town Safety Village, Inc., a 501c3 pursuant to an interlocal cooperation agreement in the amount of $34,900 and direct the clerk treasurer to remit payment for the appropriate account and appropriation.
Mr. President?
Yes.
As you know, this was before the council, and is here is again for approval, rejection, deferral, and is up for your consideration this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the payment to the Tri-Town Safety Village in the amount of $34,900. I know the question was raised about the audit.
Well, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second. Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I would like to, in order for this audit that we've discussed to go forward, we need approval from Dyer to do that, and they have not made a decision yet. So we're still working on that. As far as the amount of the allotment that is billed to St. John, it is actually just 1/3 of the approved budget. We're not paying more because Dyer doesn't. Dyer has their some of their reasons for why they withhold some of their funds, but because of its agreement that we have, I think we're responsible for paying 1/3 of the Safety Village. The Safety Village is an important part of education of children, not only the children of St. John, but children in other parts of Lake County. All the second graders from the Lake Central schools have gone through the Safety Village, or at least will have before the end of the year, and they've also started taking through fourth graders. And so I think, Mr. Chairman, we need to approve this and move forward the entire amount.
All right, I have a motion. I have a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, I'd like to add a little to that. And I do agree that the Safety Village does a nice job. It's very important to our community. I think that we need to be fair partners in this. We're 1/3. But at the same time, we've been talking about this for several months. When that discussion started, part of that discussion was to have an outside firm come in and do an audit because it hadn't been done. And it didn't need to be an in-depth audit. It needed to be an outside, it didn't need to be a forensic audit of any type, but some type of outside audit of the finances. My understanding is it hasn't been done for many years. I've had discussions with some officials from other towns, and they've requested the same thing. And my understanding was that Dyer, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Bill, that last year they requested the same thing, and they my understanding is that they were going to give you the full amount when they were satisfied with some type of audit or finances they were asking for. And but at the end of the day, they wound up paying half. So what I would like to do, if it was possible to amend it, I understand you have an operating budget. You need money to run an organization like that, but in order to have some incentive to do that outside audit, also to move things along, because I do understand you need funds, I would like to maybe chop that in half for now with the understanding that when that audit comes in, we'll pay the other half. So maybe chop that in half to $17,450, which would be half, exactly. With the understanding that when that audit came in, that we would, and it was appropriate, which I'm assuming it will be, that we would pay the full amount, $34,900 at that time, the remainder of that. That's what I would like to do.
Jerry, would you like to change your motion?
Absolutely not. We've been holding this thing off long enough. They need the money to make this year work. We're almost at the end of the school year. It's time that we did our part and paid our percent.
I agree with Mr. Aurelio. I think that we should not pay the full amount. I'd like to defer it, but I like to see the audit. And last time Mr. Jarvis was here, they're talking about, well, the money's there, the money's there. We never said that money is missing. We just want to see an audit. Dyer wants to see an audit, from what I understand. So how long does it take to get an audit to go through your books and say, hey, this cloud of this is done with? There's something there. I've got another email from somebody in town that they don't want nothing to do with it.
I understand your comments. First of all, if you're asking me for my input, as an earlier comment that was made from misunderstandings, the total budget of the Safety Village for the 2nd and 4th graders to come through there for the many schools across Northwest Indiana is $104,000. Now, the audit was requested by Janice Malco as of January. 2 months.
This year?
Yes, absolutely. 2 months since then, Dyer has not showed up to where we could have a quorum to even pick an audit firm. The audits are not me, so what they have to do is pick a firm between the 3 towns and have that audit done. So that way, there's no involvement of me. There would be any conflict of interest whatsoever. And that was requested that I just stay clear of it. But we have a meeting the 31st. They're going to pick, I hope I have a quorum, to pick a company and move forward. But audits during tax season are almost impossible to get done. They really are. You can check into it. That way you're dealing with facts. Now let's touch on a couple facts.
Well, we'll
Go
finish
ahead.
our vote here and then
Okay, that's fine.
we'll go on.
Yes, sir.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
No.
All right, Nate. Motion fails 4-1.
I would like to make one comment and clear up something that was said in this meeting about Dyer and their commitment. They have not paid their full amount in 11 years. I don't know why. I don't get their logic. I would think the children of Northwest Indiana and St. John Dyer Cherville are more important than anything. First of all, they have a contract that they're supposed to honor, an interlocal agreement between the 3 towns to honor their portion. It always comes back on me to make up that shortfall, plain and simple. I have to make up that difference. Last year, luckily, Lake County contributed $20,000 to make up that difference. So you have to tell me how important the children of St. John, Cherville, and Dyer is. At that, I have nothing to say other than that.
All right, well, it could still come before the council once you get your audit done.
If that's the rules, that's fine. We'll try and keep it open in the meantime.
All right.
Thank you.
New business. The financial matters of the corporation, request of purchases. Joe,
We don't have any requests
you
for
got one
purchase.
here.
Is that for
I
the,
think that's for the donation to the fire department.
yeah, that's on item 3.
Okay. Next, the docket. Got the accounts payable docket dated May 24, 2023, representing payment for the payroll purchases, supplies, equipment, services rendered to the town of St. John in a combined total of $3,977,506.68. You should have the docket there in front of you. Any discussion on the docket? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the docket.
I'll make a motion to approve the docket marked for May 24, 2023 for the total of $3,977,506.68.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 3, motion to approve donation to the St. John Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $15,000 and authorize the clerk treasurer to remit payment from appropriation. The number's right there in front of you. This is an annual donation that we've done for years to the fire department.
I'll make the motion to approve the payment to the St. John Fire Department in the amount of $15,000.
I got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, motion to accept proposal from Hawk Enterprises to furnish and install 2 school zone solar flasher beacon signs in the amount of $19,783.00. Entertain a motion to approve Hawk Enterprises in the amount of $19,783.00.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Support.
Any discussion?
Is that the same type of lights that are on like Garden Way and, or in front of the Continental? Those are the same, or are they bigger?
I believe last week at the study session, Chief Flores stated they were the same as what was at Garden Way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. B, motion to approve settlement of Slavin versus Town of St. John and authorize the town council president to execute any settlement agreement. Further authorize the clerk treasurer to remit payment of $162.10 to Mr. Slavin for his filing fee and to pay his attorney, Greg Bowles, legal services, PC, in the amount of $6,726.63. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I guess my question would be, is this a final settlement and everything is done now? This can't come back to us anymore, Mr. Westland?
It's a final settlement.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion, I have a second.
I wouldn't say that did you say he was a nut? Did I hear that right?
No. I asked if this was a final settlement, so that we don't have, it won't come back to us again.
Okay, no, I just wanted to clarify. I mean, maybe I just misheard you, but.
I'll try to speak clearer, I'm
But
sorry.
I was gonna say that this was his right, and it would have never gotten that far if we didn't play games.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? All right, I get a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving along, ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance number 1796, and ordinance amending salary ordinance number 1787. Joe, you want to explain?
Yeah, so as we discussed last week, this establishes regular seasonal part-time building and planning intern for the 14-week period at $15 an hour. This won't impact his budget as he has the funds available, and one of his individuals is off work right now, so.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to consider ordinance number 1796 on first reading.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 1796 on second reading.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, resolution number 2023-05-24, a resolution of the town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, transferring monies within the 2023 budget. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, so what this is this is for the, for some police equipment that we had discussed at the last study session. The total amount is $2,690.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2023-05-24.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, consider waiver fees charged to the town of St. John in the amount of $1,500 for plan commission review for the West 93rd and 41 project. This is just waiving our fees so we don't have to pay them.
That's correct.
Sounds reasonable.
And that's for the next three items.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to waive the fees charged to the town of St. John in the amount of $1,500 for plan commission review.
So moved. Second.
Support.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, consider waiver of fees charged to the town of St. John in the amount of $45 for plan commission application. Do I have a motion to waive the fees?
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, consider waiving fees charged to the town of St. John in the amount of $75 for a Board of Zoning Appeals for a special use application for the West 93rd and US 41 project. Do I have a motion to waive that fee?
So moved.
I
Support.
have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, consider license agreement between Town of St. John and LBL Development and allow access to their property for the Freedom Fest fireworks. Term of the agreement is July 1st through July 5th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, consider uniform conflict of interest for Cynthia Cindy Sues. Do I have a motion to approve her conflict of interest waiver?
So moved.
I got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Was it item 8, consider appointment of Sergio,
Oh, you skipped the,
oh, 7. Consider appointment of specific individual to the Contractors Board, licensing term to expire December 31st, 2024.
and the individual is Jason Vlasic.
Jason Vlasic, he served on the Plan Commission before?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
He was the electrical inspector.
Do I have a motion to appoint Jason Vlasic to the Contractors Board?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, consider appointment of Sergio Mendoza in his capacity as zoning administrator and annual appointment to the contractor's licensing term to expire December 31st, 2023.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Information to be accepted. Do we have any information?
No, not this evening.
All right, staff reports. Clerk?
Nothing this evening.
Town engineer Tom Nagel?
Good evening, President and Board. I got three small items I want to discuss with you. The first one is that next week we'll be advertising for the CCMG paving project. It's about a $2.2 million job. We're also going to be advertising for the Acorn Water Main and lift station abandonment. Both jobs will be occurring over the summer and the fall, and it should be done before the paving season's done. At the last study session, maybe even was the last council meeting, we discussed the pilot study. And I told you that we're going to get the results back relatively soon. We contacted Peerless Midwest, who is spearheading the pilot study. They'll have the information to us next week. And then with this information, we think it's going to be favorable. We're going to do a comparison of what it will cost to replace the media and the filters, to expand the capacity of the filters, as opposed to building new water treatment plants. And you'll see what the difference is. I believe we're going to be saving millions of dollars when this project's done. And lastly, the last meeting we had, we discussed the PASER study. And we discussed the PASER study, had a 5-year asset management plan that you have to have in order to do CCMG funding on it. Our fee was based on what we believe was a Cadillac. We understand you got a proposal that was less than ours. I just asked that we take a look at it to see if it's apples and apples. What we're proposing may be something above than what you want, but it may not be too. And we think that we could just show you what the difference is. I'm not sure how the other firms do, and besides, I know that they were much less than us. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Not a problem. We'll look at them both and make sure that they compare. Because you don't want to get something that's not as good.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Evan, would you like to come?
Any specific questions on the road project? Just general updates. Gatlin's got out there this week. They started laying some water main. They started at Patterson. They got slow, just past the church driveway. They made it till today. Stockpiling some stone on the corner, making sure they clean that up at the end of the day and everything. Passion won't be in for a while. Gatlin's hoping to be done, I think, with the west side of the road roughly the end of next week or so. So that's currently what we got going on out there. Any specific questions, anybody?
When's the house demolition?
So they're going to bring in their fence to fence off the property on Friday. It just got pushed another day. So on Friday they'll be in with the fence, and then today started a window with NIPSCO. Today, technically, they retired the lines at the house, electric and gas. The meters have been pulled, but the gas line still needs to get purged so that there's no gas in that. So technically, there's a 10-day window. I'm trying to see what I can do with some of our gas coordinators to see if they can get in there, because the demo would like to do it next week on Wednesday or Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, basically you had suggested that, it'd be right after the holiday.
Right. So we're hoping we can keep that schedule. Again, NIPSCO's got the 10 days technically, so it's 10 working days, so it would likely not be until the second week in June if we have to wait the whole 10-day window.
Thank you.
I got a question for you. The project on Kyleman.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have enough money, we're gonna fall short, is that not right? Of completing that.
We are only doing the first 300 feet.
I would like the town council to be aware of that and to possibly get our accounting firm, Senator Dalton, to look at that and see where we can come up with that money to finish that. The residents have been rather nice with us with the construction, but we would save on mobilization and demobilization on that project. And that project is what, 15% of the cost? It would be attributed to the mobilization and demobilization. So if we can come up with that money, I think we would probably be better off doing that if we could, if it's feasible with our accounting firm. I think that to bring that to stop and then come back and redo it again to finish, I think the residents are going to be kind of upset.
It was always,
and I think maybe if Joe thinks that's a good idea, just get Danny Dalton to figure out where that money would come from.
Yeah, as you know, we're trying to bring this in, on a tight budget. The costs have escalated to a point to where we had to make some kind of concession on the project scope. So in doing that, we moved this up to the next year's CCMG project. We couldn't do it this year because we were already committed on where we were going to allocate those funds. So we couldn't just stop and say, oh, we're going to do this. So while the engineering and everything is done on that project right now for Kyleman, that's something that we're going to take a look at, including in our CCMG budget for next year.
But what's your opinion on how many feet is left to go?
I think it's around 500 feet or so, I think it is, to make it down to School Street.
Yeah, but it was a substantial amount because of the water infrastructure needs and that.
That is also, it is a two-part decision. Now that the town council can't make the roadway decisions, but this would also have to be kind of coordinated with the water board because they have to pay for the remaining water portion. So it's a little more, we can still just do the road project, but from the water board's perspective, they save a lot of money doing it under reconstruction.
I would think it would make good sense to try and get that done. And I know one of the people on the board had mentioned that, do we have money to pay for this project? And did we go ahead with this project and not have all our ducks in a row and all our money set up?
What was the cost
I would
basis
say
on that?
it's mostly due to the inflated costs in the last couple of years. Had we built this in 2019, 2020, probably could have completed everything. The cost of stone, concrete, it just skyrocketed in the end. So we've seen some extreme costs.
Right. C900, that pipe went up extremely high. It came down a little bit.
Yeah.
So do you mind me asking, do you have a ballpark of how much more we're talking here? It's 15% of the total job it's short?
No, it's
15% for mobilization.
Or just on
well,
Kyleman?
Yeah, the lump sum items, likely if new contractors, we were to rebid this next year, there's going to be associated lump sum fees, mobile and demobilization, maintaining traffic, clearing the right-of-way that are likely going to be an added cost because the contractors are going to, even if it's the same one, they still have to come back after the fact. So roughly we're looking at, you would need $700,000 for the road budget, and then you're going to need 160, but that's with current pricing. Next year we're going to bid the job. Things could be different. Things could come down in everybody's favor. But right now, if we were to use current contract pricing, we're going to need about $700,000 for the roadway and about $160,000 for the water main. So those costs have come down. But again, it
was truncated.
That's a lot of money, but then if you put that mobilization, demobilization, that's going to bring it up even more.
So that does include some of those costs. I don't Passion is going to be due their course for the other pay items as well. We would just assume in 2020 prices, those would be more than they are today.
Maybe we could have
$1 million.
So maybe we can
Yeah,
have
you-
more
when
of
you
an
run the-
education of what is the fixed cost? What would be the additional cost for doing it next year versus this year? You know, and I don't
Yeah,
usually
we
expect
we
to have it
can,
now.
we can inflate some
we're gonna-
costs and
yeah,
take some
just
looks
make an
more
educated
current.
decision. So I mean, if it's,
If you can get that together
Talking
for
$1
us,
million, Mike.
that would kind of be nice, so we can give it to our accounting firm and say, hey, we need this kind of money to finish, and hopefully we'll save money doing it that way.
let's take a look.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, you got anything?
Yeah, just several housekeeping things. So the repairs on Joliet Street, over near the roundabout, will begin June 21st, depending on the weather. If the weather is bad or rainy, they'll continue it on June 27th. So this was approved by the council at our last meeting. So the sign on 96 Place and US 41s are relit now, so those have been repaired. Requested first group to get us some pricing for additional street lights on the 93rd project to include the intersection of US 41 and 93rd. As you know, that intersection is really dark, so we want to make sure that, you know, it is appropriately lit. Yeah, I mean, I know we had a discussion about this, Mike and I, you know, in terms of getting those costs for the streetlights. So that's something that we'll probably bring back at the June study session, once we have some firmer numbers on that. All are invited to attend the Memorial Day service on Monday at 8 a.m. here at the Veteran Civic Park behind Town Hall. The VFW and American Legion will be having a ceremony to honor those who have died for our nation. Also, the American Legion Post 369 will be having their dedication and open house on Saturday, May 27th at 9501 Wicker Avenue. All are invited to attend. Finally, returned late last night from the 2023 International Commercial and Shopping Centers Conference. Have not prepared a full report for you guys this evening. However, we'll be briefing the council on that in the next week or so. So looking forward to following up on a lot of those leads and contacts that I had there. So more to come on that. And that concludes my report.
Thanks. Anything from the town council? I'll start with Brian.
Business as usual. Nothing.
Mike?
Nothing at this time?
Wayne?
Yeah, we had a meeting last week, and Joe had brought up something on the house of 41 that's going to be demolished. We paid $309,000 for that house, and lo and behold, somebody got in there. They took out woodwork, they took out doors, they took out posts for the stairway. That's all wood. The furnace is gone. We paid money for it. That's our house. What happened to the contents of that house? I had made mention in a meeting that the evergreens could be taken out if possible and saved. They destroyed them. What happened to the furnace? Joe says he doesn't know. So what did happen to it, and what's our can we get any money back? Because that furnace had to be worth something. I heard it was only a couple of years old. It disappeared.
Well, I don't know who would have taken the furnace out.
Did you hear who took them, Wayne?
No, I did not hear that, but you go in there right now, Mike, if it's open, you can take pictures. The woodwork is maybe 12, 14 inches high along the bottom, the baseboard. A lot of that's gone. All the wooden doors are gone. They took a case out of the wall. I guess they were maybe going to try and get that out, but it's a shame that the town buys a house and then the stuff disappears out of it. The downspouts are missing. That's aluminum. I mean, it ain't worth much money, but it's just the principle of the thing.
Do you know if it was a church that had people come in there and take it? I know we were encouraging people to take things
Joe
out of there
says
and use it.
he doesn't know.
I can tell you that, and Evan can attest to that, when we took possession of the house, when we got the key, it was in that condition.
These things were gone.
Correct.
Because we're demolishing the house, right? So
When did we close?
Evan, do you have the date specifically on that? I don't.
The check was cut in like April. It was the beginning of April or so, I think.
The house was appraised, I'm sure, before anything was stripped out of it. And if you're acknowledging, yes, it was, which I would assume it was, the house was appraised with all of that woodwork, all the doors, the furnace, air conditioning, the whole 9 yards was all there.
And I think we had a resident send us an email that there are companies or people that would go in there and take that stuff, use it, and maybe give us some money for it. Where, it wouldn't have been that much, but it's a shame that you buy a house and the stuff is not there. That's just not, if you bought a house and you moved in, you bought a house from somebody, you want the furnace to be there. Even though you're gonna knock it down, that furnace should have been there. And then, lastly, I'd like to thank all the veterans that served our country, the ones that gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we can sit up here and gather in a public meeting so we have our rights. And I wish everybody a happy and safe Memorial Day. If you're traveling, safe travels. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the weather. Thank you.
Jerry?
Yeah, nothing additional to add.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.